What is up, W Sports Podcast listeners? Jimothy Tubby, we are back again because this week we are going to be reviewing your Week 9 fantasy football stardom sit-em, some of those last-minute advice as you head into the weekend. And then also we'll talk about a World Series that had some incredible games and a brand new champion. So, Tubby, man, welcome back to the show.
What is up? It was a great week.
It was if you were a Dodgers fan. Yankees fans or people who are pulling for Yankees, probably not as great of a week, but we'll definitely get to that here in a moment. We're going to start real quick. We're going to run through it because we need to really get into the baseball news because, man, you only get a World Series once a year, so make sure we talk good about it, especially when your champion won. I'm just saying, Tony.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start with quarterback start sit. I'll say this right now. I have plenty of sit them this week. QB1s over on ESPN. I know I got burned last week when I said Bo Nix. I'm not starting Bo Nix this week over against Baltimore. I just feel like this is a game where Baltimore's going to really run the ball quite a bit, and I just think that's going to limit Bo Nix. Geno Smith as well, if you want a wild card.
Yeah, Geno was one I was considering. I'm going to go with one who is actually the number one fantasy quarterback in the NFL right now, and that's Lamar Jackson. And that's because of the injuries. The injuries are what concern me. We kind of talked about this on yesterday's episode about Lamar Jackson banged up, knee, back injury. This is a physical, really good Denver defense. This is a team that you don't want to be a running quarterback and take a lot of hits. So I think the fantasy value may be down a little bit. Like you said, I think Derrick Henry is going to get a lot of, going to total a lot of the offense this week. Maybe Justice Hills, could be a flyer. If we're talking running backs in a couple, here in a second. But I think Lamar Jackson, I'm afraid to start him just because of the injuries, and I don't think he'll use his legs as much.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I agree. Give me your QB sleeper that you're probably going to sneak in the lineup instead.
Give me Matthew Stafford.
Damn it, that was mine too.
Was it?
Yeah. If you get Cup and Puka, who did get hurt in practice this week, should be okay. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I took a flyer on him this week. I mean, I have Jordan Love on one of my teams. Jordan Love is banged up, and he's probably going to start. But do I want to start him? I don't know. And so I have Cooper Kupp on all three of my teams. So I'm like, hey, let me go ahead and grab his quarterback and double up on some points.
Yeah. If you're looking for someone else, maybe you couldn't get a hold of him. I would say Joe Flacco, Jameis Winston, both these guys coming in. I like them, especially Joe Flacco. He's got some really good targets. Jameis Winston, he has 4 touchdowns, I believe, no picks in those last 2 games. I know this game he's throwing 2 picks. Probably one of them is going back to the house for 6, but he's going to sling that ball around. Okay, so go ahead and get him in the starting lineup.
Derek Carr, I think, is another one. I mean, coming back from the injury, maybe. I mean, you're playing against one of the worst defenses against Carolina, so maybe he's able to put up a lot of points.
Yeah. Okay. I like that one too. There you go. All right. Let's move on to running backs. Tell me who you got. Don't start in the top 24.
Going with J.K. Dobbins versus Cleveland.
Okay.
I mean, this is a Cleveland defense that is pretty stout typically in most parts, especially against the run. We saw him last week, slow down the best running team in the NFL and the Ravens last week. So I think J.K. Dobbins is going to have a hard time getting some points this week.
Yeah, I am going to say Tony Pollard. Maybe I shouldn't be. One, he's hurt. But another reason, the dude has 3 touchdowns so far this year. He doesn't find the end zone. He does catch a couple passes, but he's not even a huge PBR guy. So for me, it's him. I'm moving on from him. And I'm starting to get there. I'm nervous for Chuba as we start to get a new rookie running back, and they got no reason to lose it, so they're going to have to go to him anyway. So give me maybe a sleeper that you do want to sneak into the starting lineup.
Well, you just kind of mentioned him, Jonathan Brooks.
There we go. Even week 1, okay.
Even week 1. I think, like you said, I think this is a guy that they drafted early for a reason, even with the knee injury that he had, knowing the value that he can bring both pass catching and running. I think they're going to want to try to get him in there as much as possible right off the bat, especially, young being the starting quarterback again. They're going to want something in there. I think that they're going to hit the ground running. He's practiced fully all week. I don't think that they're worried about the injury, anymore. He's been, doing side stuff even, before he came off the PUP list. So I think this is a guy that maybe sneak in the end zone once. So
give me Tank Bigsby. I know it's supposed to be a team is supposed to be getting healthier. I don't buy it. I think the Jaguars are a mess. I think they for some reason want Tank Bigsby, and I think Etienne is a great running back. I think Bigsby is a good running back, but he has
Yeah.
gotten 18, I think, and 26 carries, 2 touchdowns over the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
So yeah, how he's ranked 37, I'm not really sure, but give it to me. He's literally not even an RB3 on ESPN, which is
Yeah.
great.
No. Yeah. It's wild.
Yeah. All right, give me a wide receiver. And hey, here's the thing: we already mentioned a tight end, I think, in yesterday's episode, but you can even throw a tight end because I know you did that last week too.
Yeah. So if I'm sitting a guy this week, I'm sitting Marvin Harrison Jr. against the Bears. Jalen Johnson more than likely going to be, shadowing him. I unfortunately had to start Kyler Murray in one of my leagues, so hopefully it's not the case and he's able to throw the ball to Marvin Harrison at will. But I think Marvin Harrison's a guy that I'm afraid to start right now because, like you said last week, the up and down of the rookie receiver right now, it's kind of scary to start.
Yeah, I had a couple guys I was somewhat interested in. Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't start him last week. He did have a good game, but he's been so hit and miss. I don't blame you on that one. I'm a little bit nervous with Cortland Sutton just because it is Baltimore, and I don't know that this is a game that they're going to be in. But if they're not, then they'll be throwing the ball a lot. I just don't know. I'm not buying into the hype on Darnell Mooney. I'm not really sure. He's like the number one that I'm like, I don't get it. And I also feel like he's 16 on me. I don't understand. I know it's Dallas. I get that. I just don't buy it.
Yeah, and Deron Bland's going to be back this week. Yeah. So
yeah,
that you add a all-pro corner.
Yeah. Who do you got as a stardom wide receiver?
This one I was surprised he was so low with the last 2 games he's had. Keon Coleman. We have seen with Amari Cooper being there, he has opened up that pass game for Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman has really turned into a really good wide receiver the last couple weeks against Miami. I don't buy Miami's defense being as good as it had been early on. I think the fact that somehow they're ranked, one of the tops is just partially due to the teams that they played. I think Keon Coleman is going to have another great game.
Yeah, I'm going to give a bonus one. I got Cedric Tillman. He's been the number one target, obviously, but he's 37 on ESPN, which, again, to me, I'm not a huge ESPN ranker guy, just because this stuff happens. I'm like, how in the world? And then the other one would have been Michael Pittman because he's 26. It would have been Josh Downs, but Josh Downs is in the top 24, so I can't choose him. He's at 24. Yeah. But give me Pittman or Josh Downs, any one of those two guys with Joe Flacco throwing the ball. That's just what he does really well.
Yeah, Cedric Tillman was my other one.
Yeah, I figured one of us was going to get him. So
yeah.
We'll get there. So, all right. Well, that's your fantasy football advice for the week. We hope we do well. We hope you guys win this week, but because it always feels better when you win, doesn't it, Tubby?
Absolutely. Last week I went 1-2. So yeah.
You won 2. Okay.
Yeah.
I also went 1-2. I think I did go 2-1. I won the league that I was 1-6 in, so it doesn't really matter.
I lost one game by 1.5 points.
That sucks. That really does.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, how about this, Tubby? It feels good to be a winner whenever you are a Dodgers fan.
Yeah.
So just I'm handing you the mic right now. There you go.
Oh, Game 5, I was nervous. I even texted you. I was like, man, I'm nervous. They started off back-to-back home runs in the first inning, up 3-0 right off the bat, and then at some point, Stanton comes up next inning. He hits a home run. They're up 4-0. Then they get another run. I was like, that's not good. We're going back to LA. We're playing Game 6. We're making history. This is the first time ever that a team is down 3-0 that makes it to Game 6 in the World Series. They've got all the momentum going right now. And then the Yankees defense reared its ugly head once again. And snowball effect. Aaron Judge drops, easy fly ball in center field. Takes his eye off it. Volpe spikes one over to third. And then you had Garrett Cole just not even move towards first one bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally 6 outs in an inning.
Yeah.
And that's when it snowballs. Because I can handle one error, or you can usually get through one. But anytime you got to get extra outs, it's already hard enough to get 27 outs in a game. And now you made it 30 and you didn't play extra. So that was pretty tough.
Yeah. You got to give it to the Dodgers' resiliency. Even down 5-0, Dave Roberts, I was nervous with the way he was pitching early on, and then even late, because I was like, who's going to come in and close the game? Because you already used Kopech, you already used Trinan, you used your main closers. Bruce Starr was already being used. Evan Phillips is hurt, and so I'm like, who's going to shut down the game? Walker Buehler. But I
Yeah,
mean, he set it up perfect. He didn't let the game get too far out of hand.
yeah,
He went to Kopech early. He went to Trinan early. He went to his big arms early to keep the game as close as possible to give the Dodgers any chance. And yeah, fifth inning, Dodgers come back. They go down, and then we have another bad inning from the bullpen for the Yankees. Dodgers score a couple runs. Then when Walker came out, I was like, it's over. Walker's locked in right now, and I knew
mhm,
Walker was not going to give up anything because he has pitched in big situations like that. You know, especially World Series. That guy, when it comes to World Series, he is unstoppable. The two World Series he's played in. Then even if you go back to college, he closed out the College World Series after pitching the day before. So he was ready to go, and hopefully they bring him back. But yeah, I was so excited. I couldn't be too excited. We had people over that night because we had bad storms, and so I couldn't be too loud because I didn't want to wake people up. But boy, I was
even though
yeah,
the yell
yeah,
whisper.
yeah. Oh, but I was so pumped. I'm glad they closed it out because I think if we would have went back to LA, things would have got a little bit more hairy for the Dodgers. And
Yeah, the longer you played those series
yeah,
and the longer you use those as many innings and
hmm
pitches that those bullpen guys do, the easier it is get for
yeah,
them to get hits off of them. So yeah, definitely well done by the Dodgers. I think as baseball fans, we got great baseball. We just wish it would have been 6 or 7 games. Five
yeah,
is still good. I mean, we're not complaining about five.
yeah. As a Dodgers fan, I was give me the clean sweep and
Yeah,
we're good. As a baseball fan, I was like, man, I want to see this thing go 7. We've had such a great postseason.
yeah,
Why not just end it off with a bang? You know, Game 7 World Series. You know, something crazy happened, walk off home run, Game 7. You know,
yeah.
just amplify it all. But Dodgers decided to close it out in 5, which I was happy because I don't know if my blood pressure could have taken any more games.
Yeah, no, and that brings up a couple questions. So one of the comments that one of the play, I can't remember who it was on the play-by-play and the
Mm-hmm.
commentator team. I'm not sure why he said it, but he said, "Hats off to Dave Roberts, one of the best managerial jobs in the World Series that he's seen." I have I have some beef with that.
Okay.
You got 3 MVPs on that team, and you got two
Mm-hmm.
other legitimate All Stars on this team. You have just so much money. I know there's lots of injuries. I get that,
Mm-hmm.
but dude, you, I you have been a proponent of years of past that he is not the right
Yeah.
manager, and here he was. He did win it, but 3 MVPs. You have the greatest baseball player. You have the most locked in player in the World Series that we've seen in the last 11 years since David Ortiz in 2013. This is the most locked in.
Mm-hmm.
I think the credit goes to the Dodger players more so than David Roberts. Like they showed up.
I think where I get what they were saying is that the fact that you had a makeshift rotation. I mean, you had Walker Bueller hasn't pitched in 2 years. You
Yeah.
had Yamamoto who missed like 7, the first like basically 5 months of the season. You had Flaherty who you traded for, and so you had to lean on that bullpen so much. I think the way that he called the games with the bullpen, bringing the guys in, and when they did, resting certain guys at certain times, like I mean, Game 4 was basically a wash. He knew, okay, I'm going to need these. I'm going to need all my bullets for Game 5. He didn't pitch Trinan. He didn't pitch Kopech. He didn't pitch Gratterall. He didn't pitch his big arms. When they started getting down, they kept Nack in. They kept Honeywell in because they knew,
Yeah.
okay, tomorrow is more important than trying to
Scrape the
stay
skin.
somewhat, stay somewhat to close in this. And also, Shohei was not Shohei. Shohei got hurt Game 2. Those final 3 games of the series, Shohei was basically just there for intimidation purposes.
Hmm.
He's at the top of the lineup. It's Shohei. We can't pitch him. Honestly, like you said, I have been probably one of the biggest proponents of getting Dave Roberts out of LA the last few years, and I honestly believe even with the roster that they had and the players that they had, this was the best managerial performance he's had in the season because of all the injuries that they had to deal with, and to keep that team locked in and keep them front runners throughout most of the season, with at one point having 17 guys on the IL that were
It's a lot.
big parts of your team. I think it speaks a lot to what he did. But I also agree. I think the players deserve most of it because of the resiliency that they brought. And I think Shohei brought something to this team that they didn't have. The belief that no matter what, we still have a chance. And he brought in that mentality that, we're not out of this ever. And we can go out there, we can put up as many runs, in an inning as the next team. And I think that was something that the Dodgers had missed for, many years. Just that resiliency that, we saw it last year. That team, there's a couple of games where, your starting pitcher goes 1 1/3, and it was basically that was all she wrote. No offense, nothing. Well, this year we saw it early on against the Padres. First 2 games, they clawed back in each of those games. Yeah, they didn't win game 1 against the Padres, but they ended up winning game 2. Same thing happened where they got down early to a division rival, but they were able to bring themselves back. And I think that's something that they haven't had in the postseason the last couple of years. So I think the players definitely were a huge part of that, but I think Dave Roberts definitely deserves a lot of credit for the way he managed this postseason.
Yeah. And World Series MVP, obviously, Freddie Freeman was no doubt about that. I think 12 RBIs in 5 games is 5 games is just crazy.
Yeah.
Here's my question though, and I've been waiting days to ask this because I'm very excited about it. Do you know what the question is going to be?
No, I don't.
All right. What's the difference that this one in 2020 was for the Dodgers?
That they actually played in front of fans?
That's the only difference? You don't think a 60-game schedule in a 162 means more?
I mean, it definitely means more, but I think they were both World Series wins.
All right, let me ask you this: what if, let's say, in 2020, the NFL there was who won it in 2020? I don't even remember.
The Chiefs?
Chiefs won in 2019. Well, they won it 2020, but the 2020 season was the next one. The Chiefs, the Buccaneers,
the Rams, or was the Buccaneers?
It was the Bucks. Yeah, the Bucks. Yeah, I think. Yeah. Anyway, let's just say the Rams won, and then they won again this next year, right? Let's just say they won twice. And 1 year they played a full 16, 17 game schedule, but in 2020 they played a 6-game schedule. Which one do you think means more?
I didn't say that this one didn't. That 2021 meant the same as this one.
Okay.
I said I believe that it still counts. People want to
for sure
whitewash it.
Yeah,
but because I think that the one aspect of what that was is that the Dodgers didn't get to play a single home game in that postseason. Every single game was on the road. The World Series was in a neutral site in the middle of the country. Really the only fans who were there were allowed was family members.
Yeah.
So you don't have the home field advantage. You don't have the fans, being able to get you back into games in series, stuff like that. So I think there was different, proponents to it. Yeah, the 60 games, the Dodgers, they can play 60 games all they want and be really good. So I get that argument, but also there's other aspects to it I don't think that people give credit to, because like you have no one there cheering for you.
It was weird. Yeah, it was tough. As a fan, when you celebrated going back to 2020 when they won it versus what it felt like, albeit a little bit muted because you had some severe weather in the area. Yeah. But which one will be more of that memory? Will they both be the same? Because that one.
No, I mean definitely this one will be up there just because I think part of it's just the way the playoffs were and the way we thought coming in. We were both like, this is the team that we're most worried about because of the starting pitching. And how much can that bullpen endure, going and having to win as many games, win 11 games to win the World Series. We were both super worried about that, and the fact that they were able to overcome that. And Dave Roberts, like I said, I think Dave Roberts did a heck of a job. The way he was able to, manage everything the way he did to get us to that point, especially being down 2-1 and having the audacity to throw a bullpen game and a must-win game against your arch rival, division right now, and come out with the win and end up winning that series. I think spoke a lot to what he was able to do.
Yeah. Well, I speak for all of baseball. They better not go get Juan Soto this offseason.
Real quick, as a Yankees fan, how confident do you feel after the game whenever, you just lose the World Series? They asked him, are you coming back to New York? And he said, I'm open to all 30 teams. How confident do you feel as a Yankees fan that he would come back?
I feel probably top 5 comfort because there's,
Yeah.
I mean, come on,
Yeah.
there's 3
Someone's
teams
gonna
that are actually
yeah.
going to make a play. But yeah, sure, he just wants to get the most money as he should. But still,
Yeah. Yeah, I get that,
don't
but I'm
go to the
like
Los Angeles Dodgers, please.
oh boy. Oh, I can't imagine that lineup. Golly.
I don't want to.
I mean, I'm all for it. I'm not the biggest Juan Soto fan, so but if he's the
You would
Dodgers,
switch so quick.
I mean, I would definitely be happy to have
Yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah. Oh man. Well, guys, that is the show. We'll have more stuff as we continue on, more fantasy football next week, but also we'll be looking at some of the offseason stuff, maybe even some NBA. Who knows? The only way to find out is if you go ahead, make sure you hit that subscribe button, be a part of the W Sports Podcast crew. Yeah, we appreciate every single one of you guys as we're on the road to 300 subs. And guess what? Next week, we're going to give away a free signed NFL jersey to one of y'all who subbed through the month of October, and we'll have more coming forward. So, till then, see y'all next time.
See ya.
See ya.